I don't believe in God. I know God.
I love me some Jesus.
You're doing too much.
That's crazy. That's on the next episode.
It's the moon reading.
I rock with you, YaYa.
It's all love.
They better listen to this advice. We good.
You crazy girl.
This is what this show is about, all right? We
Put
keep
the
it real.
real and real talk. The God in God talk.
And that's a wrap.
Today is Tuesday, January 14th, and you're listening to Real Talk on Godtalk, a podcast for people who skip church for brunch on Sundays.
So I've been seeing all these videos and stuff about how people feel offended if their friends, like their real life friends, don't interact with their social media, right? And so,
Okay.
right. So
You saw my face.
I
Okay.
would sometimes make up my face like that too, but
yeah.
like I get some of the logic. They're like, if you know I'm trying to make a living off of this and you could just
Yeah,
like
of
it,
course.
save
Yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah.
send it,
Mhm.
just do it. You
Yeah.
know it's important to me, just do it. So the reason why I don't, so my friends are going to be like, girl, but the reason why I sometimes won't interact with stuff on social media or like won't post people's birthdays or won't do stuff is because
Yeah.
I get a little anxious. Like if I post one person, but then forget somebody else's birthday or like if I never interact with yourself and then I do, and then I just don't want you to think, I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I hear you.
I have like weird things around it, but I've been trying to put myself outside of my comfort zone and say, if it's so important to so many people, regardless of if it's not important to me, I'm just going to do it. Right.
Okay.
So cool. So I've been trying to like in my head, not be a fan of celebrities or be a fan of people I don't know who don't give a damn about me, but actually like be a fan of people I do know.
Yeah.
And so lately, I'm gonna give like a huge shout out to our friend, colleague from when we were in our grad program, Pastor Mia from Riverside Baptist in DC. She does a morning mindfulness every Tuesday, Thursday, 7 a.m. I get up, I try to go. And when I say this has been something that has been such a steadying force in my life. I feed myself spiritually before I, head out into the world, and it's just been amazing. So something that she's doing right now is a contemplation meditation on Howard Thurman's Meditations from the Heart.
Okay.
And so people that participate in that are just, either reading it. I'm listening to an audiobook right now. And the first two meditations are about basically quiet time and stillness and needing quiet, like needing to quiet down all the traffic, all the TV, all the media, all the people, all the talking, conversation. And if you do not have quiet time, you will not be able to hear the subtlety of God. Like I'm paraphrasing. Read it for yourself. You should definitely read it. But it's the new year, as y'all know, and I, like many people, started going to the gym again. And the sauna is my happy place. And when I say the stillness and quiet time that I've found in the sauna, I've heard God's voice. So I want y'all to know I have heard God's voice. And I think that this is a powerful way in which the internet and the programming and the content, quote unquote content that you access on the internet, if you bring the positive stuff into your real life, it can do good things.
Absolutely.
Like it can truly do good things. And so that's been my little internet thing. I will tell y'all, it's Tuesdays and Thursdays. You can just stream it I look at it on Instagram. Pastor Mia from Riverside Baptist Church. I hope I have the right title, but 10 out of 10 will recommend. Like if you just want a way to start your morning in a very positive and thoughtful way, great.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I see her TikToks, and I always got to stop because it's always dropping gems. Always. Yeah, it's a really it's a beautiful thing to watch.
Down to
It's
earth.
It's a beautiful thing to watch. Yeah. So Mia, we gonna need you on the show, girl. We're gonna need you on the show. I love that. So that's what's going on with us. Why don't let's tell them what this episode is actually about.
All right, let's get into it, right? So in Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, right, our titular leading lady asks the question, what's in a name? and proceeds to answer her own question by basically saying that which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. So she's basically saying nothing's in a name. It's not that serious. It's the essence of a thing that makes it what it is, not what you call it, right?
Right.
But I do not know if many or most of us would agree. A few weeks ago, the internet was up in arms and basically begged to differ. When folks found out that Nigerian-American country artist Shaboozey's stage name was in effect a mispronunciation, and some might even and have even said a bastardization of his Igbo name, which is Collin Obina Chibueze, right? So basically, his name is Collin Obina Chibueze. A lot of people he grew up with, probably a lot of white people, couldn't pronounce it. And so they called him Shaboozey. He took that, did a little remix on it. Shaboozey's his stage name. Even on top of that, him taking that on as his stage name to add insult to perceived injury, his name was then used as like a running gag at the 2024 Country Music Awards. I don't watch that, but I saw it all over the internet.
Facts.
So at that same award show where they consistently made fun of his name the whole time, he was also denied recognition and awards, despite being one of the top charting country artists this year. Right?
Big surprise.
So this whole story has the interplay between the implications of race, ethnicity, identity. Those all play no small role in the debate on the importance of his name and how he himself and others either choose to honor that name or, dishonor or disregard that name, right? So there's the social identity aspect of things, but real talk on Godtalk. My ears really perked up a little bit when I learned that not only is Chibueze absolutely gorgeous family name, right? Gorgeous cultural family name, but it means God is ruler, God is king. So it got me thinking not only about our names as people, but also a little bit about the names of God and how the many names of God play such a prominent role in the Bible, and how naming has many spiritual and religious implications and traditions around that, right? So that leads us to the real talk question of the week. On this episode, what's in a name? Does it matter what's coming up there, right? So before we get into Shaboozey and specifically even, the names of God, I want to ask Truth, what do you think about names? Is it important? You think names are important? Not that serious? What you think?
Yeah, I mean, for me, a name is very important. It's a sign of respect to call someone, their name. It's a sign of respect to honor how their name is pronounced. I think it shows a lot of love when you take the time. Like if it's a name that your tongue may not be used to, but you make that effort to get it right, and then you get it right. I don't think it's not. I don't understand how people will, if they're not sure how to pronounce a name or, refuse to learn how to pronounce a name, will ask for a nickname or something like that. Like, we ain't even cool like that. We not cool for you to know my nickname. So it's like, come on. But no, I think a name is I think it's very important. I think it can also just like lift somebody up by saying their name. I think it's very powerful. You can really bring somebody up if they're like feeling down, just hearing their name. You know what I'm saying? You can hear like if somebody loves you and they say your name, like that is a feeling. It's like if you have like a good relationship with anyone, they say your name, you're like, oh, it's just
like
something.
Just that acknowledgement.
Yeah, it's a part of you, and I think maybe for me it's like a name, it is very much a part of you, because you may be named after someone. What does your name actually mean? Different cultures have different names. You may be named after someone. What's their history that someone decided to name you after them, or did somebody did your grandmother name you? So my real name is Jessica, right? Very simple, very common name. I've always understood this. But here's the thing. My great grandmother picked that name, right? My great grandmother, who was not American, picked that name. Where did she get it from? I don't know. But that was a name that she wanted me to be named. I carry that with me because my mom, so that's my mom's grandmother. So my mom says that I remind her the most like my great grandmother, like the way that she was. She even says like my hands remind her of her hands. That means a lot to me. So, for me, I'm like, nah, that for my grandmother to have named me and probably only have known me like as a child, like as a baby, because I don't have memories with her. I'm like, that's special to me. So, like I love that. I feel like it's a history there, and that ties me. For me, that's a tie that I have with my great grandmother, even if I couldn't have it like completely in life. So yeah. What about you? Like, what do you think about that?
So, like you, names are incredible, like really, really important to me.
Yeah.
Particularly in terms of the meaning of
Yeah.
one's name. And so, my real name is Shakira. Shakira means thankful one or thankful in Arabic. And that is something that I've carried very close to me my entire life, especially because, so my name is Shakira, right? How it was meant to be pronounced is Shakira. Growing up in public schools, many, public schools in the United States, it went from Shakira, kind of like Jamaican-ish, to Shakira, which is all right, cool at this point. That's what it is, what it is. But I think having a name that, before the singer Shakira so many people be like, oh, your name's ghetto, your name's ghetto, your name's ghetto. I take such pride in my name. But first of all, nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong with being ghetto. She ghetto. Right. But even besides that, I've always that honor of my name, of that honor of what my name means, of being thankful, being grateful. I think that it has impressed a certain certain cadence to my life, a certain way that I approach the world.
Yeah.
You can ask the question, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Is it the name that makes the person act that way, or is it the person that acts that way? I guess, and the name just fits.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it just settles in so well. The governor of Maryland, Wes Moore, he, way before he was governor, I had read his book, The Other Wes Moore. And in it, it talks about two kids named Wes Moore, one that grows on to greatness, and one that, because of their environment, is not able to do that. And I think about how two people with the same name can have such different outcomes. And all the examples, like I guess in pop culture, like y'all can look it up, of people who, twins or whatever, who are named one negative, one positive, how that can change the way that you're perceived. And I don't know. I do think that names are so important. And it's funny because you talk about having a, I don't want to say a plain name, but having a recognizable name. And so my husband, we don't have kids yet, and we, hypothetical questions in a relationship will be the death of you. Oh my God.
Yo, facts. So.
A hypothetical question will get you knucking if you bucket.
For real, for no reason.
Right, for absolutely no reason. And of course, baby names come up. So all of his names are like Victoria, like Jennifer. And my names are like anything creative with a name in with a meaning that you could think of. Those are my
names. You?
Yeah, that's on me. And he's like, I don't get it. And I'm like, well, I feel like names should be powerful.
Yeah.
And he's like, my name's Kevin, and I like it just fine. I'm like,
you know what's funny?
Should be unique.
Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to set them up. You know what's funny is that when my wife and I talk about that baby names, I'm like the same thing. I'm like, nah, you know, they should carry the, the legacy, I was like, what does that mean in your culture? I'm like, what's the strongest name for a boy? OD, OD,
Yeah, and I've been thinking a lot about given names, but even family names. You talk about legacy. So initially, when I was first married, I didn't want to give up my maiden name for many reasons. I know everybody has all these things, do the hyphen thing, know, or not even my maiden name, a family name. I gave up my maiden name, but as years have gone by, I've settled more into my married name, just being my primary, surname. And it is a clearly Haitian, clearly Franco sounding name.
Yeah.
And when, so obviously it's my husband's last name before mine. And so sometimes people will be like, oh my goodness, what an interesting name. I can't pronounce it. Is it French? And he always takes it as an opportunity to say, well, like, people like, oh, do you have some French in your family? He's like, no, we're Haitian. I'm sure that it came from enslavers. Like, he locks in and takes it as a moment to really pause and say, no, think about the history. Think about what this might mean, or like, and I think it's so positive, and I take such pride in my last name now. And so when people mispronounce it, I stop them, I slow it down.
Yeah, I love it.
I do it in a friendly way. Like, it's cool. I understand it might not come naturally to your tongue. It took me time to learn it as well, but I definitely take pride in it.
I love it.
10 out of 10.
And it's so true. I feel like in a lot of like cultures, the last name, it carries a lot. So like I know like in Polynesian cultures, a lot of it is just tied to genealogy. Like you say your last name, they can trace you back. Oh, okay, you so and so son, who's so and so son, who's so and so son, who's married to this. Like, I've been in those circles, and it's really amazing to hear how just in a name that genealogy is traced. And I'm like, this is really cool. I'm like, and then, the practice in various cultures to pass that information down, to know where you came from, your genealogy, who your cousins are, who their parents are, who your parents are, your parents, all of that is it's important. It's not just like, no, your family just is a nuclear family. Like, no, you come from a long line of people, and these are the people who have your back. These are the people who did this in this place in time, and did that in this place in time, and had this little bit. And I'm like, that is powerful to me.
And it's so funny how your ancestors show up both in the genealogy and the ways that can show up in the name, but how it also can show up in unexpected ways. Because I didn't even think about this prior to this episode, but so, my name's Shakira. When I was young, like y'all, you would not believe it. I have so many nicknames. Like, I have so many nicknames. But when my siblings were first learning to talk, they couldn't pronounce it. They couldn't pronounce Shakira or Kira or none of that. And so they called me YaYa, right?
Wow.
They called me YaYa. And so, we having a podcast. What do you want to be called? Like, people, my family started calling me YaYa a little bit. I'm like, cool, YaYa, whatever. And for this episode, I started looking up the names, or like what YaYa actually means. And it means mother. It means, it can mean someone that's spiritually initiated. I'm not trying to claim that or anything. But on top of that, my great grandmother on my mom's dad's side name was YaYa. Her name is Yo-Yo.
Yeah.
It's just, I just think it's absolutely wild how that can show back up generations later in a completely unexpected way. And it's like I genuinely believe in synchronicities and that the ancestors show up in interesting ways.
They get out of the blue, but not so out of the blue, right? Yeah. No, I love that. You mentioned earlier just like the names of God, and it's the same thing, right? It's like it shows if you read the Old Testament and the New, you're gonna see genealogy, and it's a reason for it being there. It's like a very integral part of the story. Like the names of God, it holds a lot of like theological but also spiritual like significance in the Bible, because the names represent not only God's nature but also God's character, God's authority, and basically God's relationship with us. And so like I'll give you some examples of a couple of names that you might have heard. So Yahweh is, that's the most sacred name of God in the Old Testament, often translated as I am who I am in Exodus chapter 3, verse 14, and basically signifies God's eternal, self-existent nature. There's Elohim, which emphasizes God's power and majesty as creator. Adonai, meaning Lord. The name highlights God's authority and sovereignty. And the last two, Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Rapha, they're like compound names which reveal God's relationship with humanity as provider, healer. So these are very important things when we start to think about our relationship with God, and if you're going through something and you need God to provide, you'll hear people call out Jehovah Jireh, my provider. You need a healer, Jehovah Rapha, my healer. Like calling out these names, it's like calling onto the power of God by these very specific names. It's like I'm not just calling on any God. I'm calling on Jehovah Rapha. I'm calling on Jehovah Jireh. I'm calling on Adonai, Elohim. Like I'm calling on very specific names, for a very specific thing. And so like the importance of this, the genealogy, as far as the genealogy goes in the Bible, a lot of it we see for like the keeping of God's promise to Abraham. I will fill the start. What is that scripture? Why can I remember it now? God's promise to Abraham. Help me out.
I know I should be here to help.
I was like,
I didn't even have a light rest for you, girl.
I was like, throw me a line. Descendants as much as the stars. that promise. That one. So that that the genealogy of that traces all that back, okay, when we get to Jesus, this is why you'll hear that genealogy come through, because it shows, oh yeah, all the way from Abraham. You reiterate what was already said, and you get a glimpse of how things are, that oral tradition and how that's passed down. So the importance of names is not new. And we see it, and I think the Bible is a perfect example of why names are important.
Definitely. So I just got to get this out. Immediately the first thing that came to my mind was Jehovah Jireh, my provider, Jehovah Nisi, Lord, you reign in victory.
Anyway, that's everybody's song.
You ever tweaking and just need to get it out?
Yep.
No, exactly. that is totally fascinating to me.
Yeah.
I think that's something that I've always been curious about and just really attracted to. The many names of God. And so I don't know, I'm curious, is there one that really I guess resonates for you or that you turn to? Or what do you call God? Yeah, interesting. Even outside of the names of God.
Names.
Yeah.
You know what? I always call God Father. Because I'm always, and I think there's very specific times where I will say, Father, I need your help, right? And then there's other times where I'm like, just God, and then there's other times where I'm like calling on Jesus, and I'm just like, Jesus, I need you. But I can't, if any of like the names, I will say I'm often with like the Jehovah Jireh, provider. I feel like that is one name that for me will encompass all of my needs, because I feel like if anybody knows what I need, it's going to be God. And I'm like, if you could provide in all the ways that even when I do not have the words, if I just say that, I'm like, I'll be fine, Yeah. Yeah. What about you?
So I keep it pretty basic for the most part. Dear God.
Yeah. I hear that.
I will say at times I will go I will refer to God as the divine. It just helps me hey, I'll catch it all.
Yeah.
Of the quote unquote many names of God, like some of the ones that you just talked about, I will rarely, never use any of those. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say God, divine. I think I do like attaching those specific qualities when you have a specific need, and maybe that's something I can try to incorporate sometimes. I think it's interesting as someone that has moved away from the Christian tradition and labeling myself a Christian. I definitely I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Like that specific, that through Christ, that does give me strength though. Like in some of my most challenging moments, that in Christ who strengthens me, really I can draw on that. And so, I don't know how significant the name is, or if whether it's the name or the energy. I don't know, but that does it for me.
I love that. that. I think mine equivalent to that was like, if God is for me, who can be against me? That's one verse that for me, I'm like, okay. That's all I need.
Just call it
Amen. So
No, I think it's fascinating though. You brought up Yahweh as being the most sacred name of God, right? And so Yahweh translated as I am that I am.
Yeah.
That always, first of all, totally is fascinating to me.
Yes.
And I just find so much power in that on multiple levels, right? So Yahweh, YHWH, in the Judaic tradition, such a sacred and such a powerful name that it's not even supposed to be written or spoken, right? So if you ever notice, if you have like, I don't know, Jewish friends or, colleagues, classmates, whatever, people in your community, if you notice they might not write out God, it might be GD or, whatever, that is a part of the reason why. But that particular name is so interesting to me because that I am that I am, that what you name is what you are.
Yes.
The power of your tongue and what you say and how you can speak into your life and bring that unseen into reality, that we can access the power of God through that naming. Oh my God. That's mystical. That's wild. And so I will say I am totally fascinated, I think, with that. And I think especially when it comes to mysticism, whether it be Christian mysticism, Kabbalah, Judaic mysticism, I've always been kind of interested in the gematria, which is the idea that every letter is connected to a number, and it is and that letter numeric connection basically is connected to numerology, can hold multiple meanings, so on and so forth. And so I don't know the math on it. So all my Kabbalistic or even 5%ers out there who know sacred mathematics, I think that I'm just making the connection now, but that is probably why 5%ers changed their names.
Yeah.
Right? Gotta be. I mean, I don't know. So some more research on my end.
Yeah.
But it sounds like your name being so powerful, connected to the mathematics and the numerology part of things, you would want it to be something that lifts you up and speaks to something really positive.
Yeah, that makes sense. For sure.
I'm all over the place here.
No, that makes sense.
Y'all gotta be feeling me on some level.
No, I totally get it. When you said too of how like the power of the tongue, it reminded me of the scripture where it's like, basically where it says from like what's in your heart, that's what will flow out of you, right? And I'm like, it got me to thinking just right now where I was like, man, when people refuse to acknowledge your name, that's in there. That's in there. Yes, it be on purpose. It totally be on purpose.
Clearly, I'm like deep on the internet, but I don't know if you all saw, I don't know, them girls. I don't even know them ladies, but I guess Megan Thee Stallion's boyfriend is a basketball player and he was dating some other girls, and they're going to get on the podcast and just butcher her name. It's Megan. It's really not that hard.
It's really
so
not.
They're going to get on there and butcher her name and be like, oh, he usually doesn't like that type of girl. And it's like, y'all are being so microaggressive. I don't know if that's a word, but that's always how, like, I'm not trying to target white people, but it'd be white people sometimes. That's how they try to get you. It's like, you want to not acknowledge me. You want to say my name wrong. You want to do all these things around my name, but it got to be because you know how powerful it is.
Right,
Had it not been so powerful, there'd be no reason that's your point of entry for disrespect.
Exactly.
But,
Yeah, that's exactly it. Well, we done our job.
I know, right?
Well, on the topic of naming and powerful, you mentioned when we were talking, just a great example of the ability, for of naming when Adam started naming stuff, in the Bible. Like I when I saw that in like the notes that you gave, I was like, oh my gosh, that is so true. I was like, what one, what a responsibility, but two, just an example of like the power of that, right? Of naming animals, like wild. Wow. And it's wild.
It's like, Genesis, well, one of the Genesis stories,
Right.
One of the very first responsibilities that you have as a human being, as a conscious person, is to go out and name, and not just name for like the aesthetics of it, of how it sounds, but like those qualities and those characteristics. And it is really fascinating. And I think that just speaks to how important a name is and what you call something. Yeah. And even outside of like human names, but like, that's why you can't speak badly of people or things or like, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, it's just so true. Like this is why it's very powerful when it comes to your name. If people mispronounce your name, correct them until they get it right. If they refuse to get it right, stop talking to them. Just leave them alone because it's not even worth it. But it's like, correct people. I'm one big for that, man. If you have a name that I have never heard before, I always try my best to get it right. And it's like, if people cannot do that for you, let's stop settling for half saying it right. No, correct them each and every single time until they get it. Because they be out here saying every other name but ours.
Yeah, and it can be uncomfortable. Absolutely. I just gotta say, it can be very uncomfortable sometimes. Absolutely. But I do agree that there's a certain honor that that a name deserves. And despite the discomfort. Yeah.
They could be out here saying foolishness, They could fix their tongues to say the right name. Like, that's just it. Just
you deserve it.
You deserve it.
Say my name.
Exactly. What Destiny Child said. To keep the conversation going, tell us what you think by following us on Instagram or Twitter at Real Talk on Godtalk.
It's YaYa, and you're listening to The Moon Reading. For the period of January 14th through January 20th, we'll be feeling the energy of the January 13th full moon in Cancer and heading toward the new moon, which will arrive on January 29th. This marks the midway point of the lunar cycle, starting from the full moon to waning moon to new moon, and covers the time period between now and the release of our next episode. That makes it a great opportunity to reflect on the latter part of the moon's metaphorical journey, from the fullness of life to its inevitable deterioration, to the phase of rebirth and regeneration. This message might be especially meaningful or timely as people in LA and throughout the US try to make sense and meaning of the wildfires and its accompanying devastation. Yes, there's the urgent need to figure out tangible things like securing loved ones, shelter, food, and clothing. But then there's the aspect of dealing with the emotional, psychological, and spiritual toll it can take to either directly experience or bear witness to destruction and displacement, especially from home and environment. We continue to pray for those who are affected. And as we think about this lunation, I encourage us all with a message of hope. After the height of the full moon, as the celestial body seems to disappear in the sky, leaving what appears as emptiness and nothing, remember that what often feels like the end is indeed just an appearance. And we can hold on to the promise of regeneration and renewal with the expectation of the new moon right around the corner.
Thank you, YaYa, for your moon reading. I'm so happy that we got our first moon reading of 2025.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. Yes. So, y'all be sure, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Real Talk on Godtalk. Follow us on TikTok. I mean, I don't really know what we do there, but we gonna figure it out on TikTok.
We getting it together.
Yeah, y'all gonna catch some clips. 2025, we're gonna figure it out. But yeah, join the conversation. Let us know what you think about the episode. What does a name mean to you? Is it important to you? What does it mean? What have been some of your experiences with your name? We want to hear all about it. Any last words, YaYa, for the folk?
It's 2025. Let's do that big, y'all.
Yeah, we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Love y'all.
I don't believe in God. I know God.
I love me some Jesus.
You're doing too much.
That's crazy. That's on the next episode.
It's the moon reading.
I rock with you, YaYa.
It's all love.
They better listen to this advice. We good.
You crazy girl.
This is what this show is about, all right? We
Put
keep
the
it real.
real and real talk. The God in God talk.